All right, so I'm going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's INT webinar. My name is Thelma Groh, and I'm the marketing manager here at INT. INT is the leading provider of upstream data visualization solutions for the energy industry, and it's my pleasure to market all of our flagship software products, including IVAAP, which we're here for today, Advanced Data Visualization Platform for Energy, GeoToolkit, visualization toolkit and libraries, and INT Viewer, our seismic QA/QC platform, as well as general and brand awareness around INT in the market, our cloud partners and our cloud solutions, and all of that good stuff. So it's my pleasure today to bring this webinar to you guys. Today we'll be talking about, of course, the new release of IVAAP 2.11, all of the new features, functionalities. We'll give a quick demo of a few of the new features, and then have some time at the end for any questions or comments that you have. And of course, you get to pick the brain of our presenter, so it'll be a good session for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of housekeeping things. If you have any questions, you should have a Q&A panel open. Or not open, it's available to you at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to put any questions in there as we go. And then, of course, at the end, we'll take all those questions one at a time. If there's something that we can't get to, of course, we'll email answers to them, but I think we should have time to get to most of them. And then, of course, the session will be recorded. So if you find it particularly useful or you'd like to share with your team, it'll be available in the next few days. Okay, so before we get started, I'd like to introduce Dr. Hugues Thavot-Chabul, our VP of Cloud Solutions here at INT. He's been with us for how many years now? A while. More than 10 years. And before that, he had quite a lot of experience in the industry with, Rockstar, Baker Hughes, Paradigm. So extremely smart, extremely just all around great guy. So I'm very excited to introduce him today. Hugues, you can take it away.
Right. Good morning, everyone. So here I'm here to present to you the new release for IVAAP, the IVAAP 2.11. So let's have a start. First, before to go in details of what we are releasing for this today for IVAAP, we just wanted to give a quick reminder of what IVAAP is. For maybe not everybody knows the product. First, IVAAP, we position it as a universal energy data visualization platform. So it provides a set of tools and visualization capabilities which are quite powerful for end users. It's cloud-based, so it's accessible from the web browser. You can build dashboards, you can co-visualize data, you can access data from multiple type of data source. It can be your own custom database, or it can be PDL, Baker Studio with XML. We work closely with OSGU, so we can access OSGU DDMS data. And we, on top of that, we offer a framework for integration with first with external services. It's coming with this release, so we want to allow users to plug their own processes and run them through the IVAAP interface. So we'll have some more details in the coming slides on that part actually. And also we talk about building blocks for your digital application. That means that we can really use we offer SDK capabilities in IVAAP, so you can really customize and build on top of that IVAAP platform. So in terms of capabilities, first capabilities for visualization, that's a key point of IVAAP. And for people who know INT is very strong in visualization capabilities. That has been the core business for the company. We offer toolkits for visualizations in different languages. Now we offer it in JavaScript, the latest one. And IVAAP is built on top of the GeoToolkit. So IVAAP can leverage a lot of the capabilities that the GeoToolkit provides. So in IVAAP today, we offer capabilities for search, explore on the map, search for metadata. We provide capability for dashboarding, so very strong capabilities with different type of visualizations. So in terms of widgets, we have base map, 3D views, 2D seismic, well logs, gauges, pie chart, crossplots. So a lot of widgets. And on top of that, with SDK, user will be able to even add more widgets, more widgets from the toolkit, for example, into the dashboards. For OSDU, we tightly integrated with OSDU. We follow it very closely. We are very involved into the consortium. And so today we offer a capability to connect to the data collection, OSDU collection. So there is a tight relationship now inside IVAAP. IVAAP use projects, OSDU use collections, and we can communicate between the two. We offer capability for monitoring, drilling, real time, so like can read with XML data. We have Mat Engine, external workflow to run processes. For OSDU, we support quite a lot of the OSDU data type, and we continue to add more. And we can read the DDMS, so what DDMS and seismic DDMS. And we integrate with the cloud providers, so AWS, AMI, GCP, IBM. We communicate with FCB Delphi as well, and also we have a custom data source. So a quick view of the IVAAP architecture ecosystem. So at the top, it is the IVAAP client. So that's what the user would see. So the user interface is so it's HTML. It's mobile responsive. It's you can build your dashboard, visualize your data. Behind that, we have API for the data, API for messaging, API for the resources. So that communicates with the backend. In backend, we have connector services that will allow you to access data from different type of repositories. Like you see the repositories on the right side here, we can access OSDUs, we can access in real time the WithSML servers, we access files like Segway file, OpenVDS, OpenZGY, last daily Steve, and the shape files and other resource files. And we can also communicate to commercial databases like PPDM, Petra Studio, OpenWorks, WellView, ProdViews, SQL, and also custom databases as well. So in the backend also, we have services for messaging, for the real-time, for the map. The resources, when we talk about resources, it's like the dictionaries, alias mnemonic dictionaries, alias dictionaries, all the templates that are saved when you save to your dashboard. For example, you can save a dashboard template of specific widgets, etc. And also we have resources for patterns, for example, and other type of resources. External workflows, important part that we will describe in a few slides. So we can, this is where user can plug its own services for processing, can develop them in Python, can use Jupyter notebooks, and all of this can be made available inside the IVAAP interface. On top of that, we don't forget the security, so we offer a strong solution for security as well, and administration. So let's have a look now at IVAAP 2.11, what was provided in the latest release. So we released IVAAP 2.11 just a few weeks ago. So what's the main point of that release? So here I wanted to put just three key points as highlights of the release. First is the support for collections in OSDU. That's an important part for us. We want a seamless communication between IVAAP and OSDU. So that was an important point to make sure to support. With the collections, basically, other products in the OSDU, in the OSDU world, will be also using collection, then you will have a seamless communication between any external products in OSDU and IVAAP. Data interaction, that's the second point that's important for that release, is we are providing new capabilities for data investigations, data visualization, and editing. So we'll go through the list of them. And of course, that's the first commercial release of our external workflow integration. This is where we want the user to start building their own process and plug them into IVAAP, basically make them available through the IVAAP interface. So OSDU, we start with first with what we did for OSDU in 2.11. So first, we can access the latest release M19. So we have that accessible. For well, we added a few things. First, we had well point support. We're working with OSDU on the rock and fluid sampling data, so make them available in IVAAP. We can read WITSML files provided from OSDU. We access dailies with multi-well dailies also. Another part is a support for core images. For seismic, we added a lot more capability to access metadata from the manifest and make them available to the user when looking at metadata for seismic through the client. And we did a few things for search, like search on non-georeference data. So another part in OSDU is that we released, we integrate with FCB Delphi. So now IVAAP is accessible through the FCB Delphi workspace interface. You can see here a small icon on the right here for IVAAP. So user can click on this if he's registered and load, of course, and can open IVAAP through the Delphi solution. Another part is for the data collection. So just a little bit more details on the collection. So IVAAP use projects, and in project we store a bit more than just which data are used. So we could not just convert it in collections. So we offer a synchronization between collection and IVAAP projects. So we wanted to make it seamless for the user. So we can create projects from collection, we can create collection from projects, and synchronize. So a really small video here showing this. So if you go from this is the homepage for IVAAP OSDU. Keep in mind that these homepages are all customizable. So this is what we offer as a default, but companies using IVAAP can customize, make it different, make it their own style. So here, just example of searching for collections. You see projects are listed, they have tags. You can delete a collection and get to collections, etc. For IVAAP in general, so we have first in IVAAP, we have the map page, which is an important part of what we deliver. So the map page, we did have quite some comments on the previous release. It was, so we wanted to make it a bit more user-friendly and more understandable to the user. So through the map page, what you do is that you can search for data, you can create projects, you can edit projects, update the project content, etc. So we had some comments about the fact that, for example, if objects like wells are overlaying at the same location, it's very hard to select one specific well. So we did improve the tooltip when you overlay an objects, and we added few capability to select them. As well, we did move the card to the left side. So let's have a look at a quick demonstration here. So what I do is that you see when I'm overlaying a point now, an object, you can see all the, for example, here, multiple wells at the same location. You can go through all of them with the tooltip. You can create a project, okay. And when I'm creating that project, what I do is that from that tooltip dialog here, I can select specific objects like this and add them to the cart directly like this. And you see the 3 objects I selected already. Then I can do a manual adding as well. I enable the edit icon, and I can select with square, polygon, or circle selections, and I can edit the card content as well on the left side. Then I add that to the project. Then once I add it to the project, I disable the editing mode on the right side. And now you can see in green are the wells which are added to the project, and red as the one which are not part of the project. This works for any type of object, so we deal with seismic as well. You can select seismic and it's in the same way. Next is a new thing that is added is what we call the dynamic range intervals. So that is we did that to provide to the user a bit more capability to really search and try to identify specific patterns or data along the well. So here you select intervals into the well logs, and those intervals will be highlighted into other widgets. Right now we support Crossplot, pie chart, histogram, statistics. There is a lot more work ongoing, and in the future we will have a lot more capability in relation with these intervals that are selected in widgets. So let's have a quick demonstrations of what this means. So I'm selecting a create interval from the toolbar here. Then you can see I can just highlight an interval. So this interval is highlighting the Crossplot. It's also highlighted into the pie chart. So you see the histogram, the pie chart, and the statistic widgets, bottom right side, which are updated. So it gives you the information for that specific interval. You can switch wells. And this I can create multiple intervals. And in Crossplot, also for another solution, you can highlight or filter. So right now I'm switching to filter. So when I click on an interval, I will only see points related to that interval. When I'm switching well, it remembers the intervals which were made on the previous wells. So you can see that. So that's the first. It's the first part of this. That's the first release of this dynamic interval. So we want to do a lot more based on this. So in coming release, stay tuned. You might see a lot more coming with support, with capability around that highlighting process. Another things really is for grid surface, is the ability to visualize grid surface attributes in Crossplot. So a few things were added actually. First, we visualize the attributes, grid surface attributes in the data tree. We can display as surface attributes, use them in Crossplot. So here on the right side, you will have a Crossplot of two attributes of the same grid surface. Another thing is that the ability to be able to make polygons in the base maps. And these polygons are saved and made available into the data tree. You can see a few here in this screenshot. And also we want to be able to highlight the points falling into these polygons, into the Crossplot. So that's what you see on the right side in gray. So let's have a quick demonstration. So I'm dragging and dropping an attribute from the grid surface to my Crossplot. I'm putting the time as the third dimension. Now I'm creating a new polygon that I will create into the base map. And this polygon will be highlighted in the Crossplot. You can see it here. You can again, I can use the highlight as a filter capability in Crossplot. So just to see just the points falling in the polygon or all the points. And then I can basically edit my polygon, move it around, and you see in the Crossplot the updates corresponding. So that's another point. So let's go to the next one. Is for Crossplot, we added another part as well, is the support for interval data. So what we do here is that we want to be able to put as a third dimension, the z-axis, we want to be able to put interval data, so highlighting the points falling in each of the intervals. So it's on the right side here. You see my interval data. There's a lithology curve here, which is visible in the table here. So I can just take that lithology curve and put it on top of my Crossplot, and it will highlight the point falling in each of the intervals. A quick example here. So I have a neutron density Crossplot here. I'm dragging the lithology interval descriptions on top of it. I'm using the state definitions. That's what we use them a lot in IVAAP. If you don't know state definitions, you will discover that in IVAAP it allows us to make this specific descriptions of what we want to visualize, the style of what we want to visualize. And here, so I created a state definition with each of my formations. And you see that I can filter in the Crossplot, I can highlight in colors. So it's very flexible. So the description, which is into the WellLog track here, you can see it in Crossplot, your third dimension, and in the table widget. Another part added was the improvement for raster files. So quite some work was done here. So now in IVAAP, we identified two types of raster files. So one defined by intervals, so interval rasters, and the one defined by a specific index, specific depth, that's a discrete raster. So interval raster will be, for example, your core photos, defined by a top and a bottom depth. And discrete raster will be, for example, the thin sections, which are at a specific depth along the well. So we offer a support strong synchronization between the WellLog and there's displays like image widget, for example. And also we can visualize them in correlations. Let's have a look at the demonstration. So here I'm dragging and dropping the core folders into the track. You see all the core photos added to the track. I can take the think sections in the same way. So the think section would be more like annotations in WellLog. You see I can switch well and it updates content automatically. I'm creating here two image widgets, and I will put in one the photos, the core photos, and the other one the thin sections. Important point is that when I switch well, it updates automatically, and I can go from point by point. Like here, I'm looking at the discrete the thin section. It updates at the bottom, and I go to the next one. Like this, you see it constantly update the widgets. Another part is that you can visualize them in correlation. For example, here in correlation, the same wells with the photos, so the raster files, and so the core photos and the thin sections. So to do that, we use the tagging. So you see in the data tree, we have different tags with different colors, like default core samples, default thin sections, default depth logs. So using tagging allows you to really it's very good for multi-well, for example, because with the tagging, when we switch well, IVAAP will know which data to use for the display. So you can we advise to use the tagging a lot, in particular if you're in multi-well situations, to make sure that your wells update with the proper data that you want to see. Another capability released with 2.11 is the lithology editing. So here we allow user to basically describe intervals along the well. So we call it lithology, but it can be for any type of interval that user wants to describe along the well. So an example here. So I'll go to lithology editing and create a new curve. For that, because it will be interval data, it will be saved into a specific log, and you can have also a description log associated to it. So here I'm just doing on the fly a few interval editing. So you see I'm creating one, the bed formation, I go to the next one, enter NES, etc. Different ways of creating your intervals. So interactively selecting top or bottom, or just going one by one. I'm adding a step definition. That way, if I already have a defined step definition, I can just use it and select which patterns, which colors, everything is made available. I enter descriptions here, you see. And another part that can be done is also I can edit already made intervals. You see, I can just select one, move the top or move the bottom. I can also, we have an option to snap to the previous top or the next top, etc. So then at the end, you get something, when you have it done, you can also save it to the database. And so this will be listed in the tree. You can see a lithology and a description and the little associated that we just did. So next is a sequence stratigraphy. So for that, we added the support for stack patterns in WellLog. So if you see in the tree here, we have something, a log called stratigraphy. So for the stack pattern, you basically need two logs, one defining the top width and one defining the bottom width. So we have settings for thickening, thinning, and uniforms. Example here with the triangles in yellow and green here. for curve editing. So that's also a new feature. So the curve editing is a new capability coming into 11 as well. So you can edit the continuous curves inside IVAAP. You go through the menu in the toolbar, select curve, continuous curve editing. That will trigger the mode and basically allows you to edit. You see in the track here, the square points at what we'll be editing. You can edit in WellLog and also in tables. So in tables, we also add capability to insert index, delete index, and delete multiple rows. So quick example here. So I'm selecting that gamma ray here into the track. I see few points which are abnormal and I want to fix them. So I can just go to select the curve, go to edit, continuous curve, and now I can move the point left and right into the display here. To see the interactively, I just reposition the points. Here, I'll just show you in the table. You can do the same in table. So I'm selecting the corresponding point. I go to edit, and I can just edit it from there. Okay, and then next, I wanted to show here the capability to remove multiple rows. So if I zoom in at the bottom of the log here, I see some data that I might want to clean up. Let's say I want to remove the last interval here, and I do it from the table widget. I can select the points and basically select delete selected index, and it will delete it. So finished. Important part is that in IVAAP, when we edit data, we have two icons in the toolbar, save and reload. But they are the important icons because save means that you will send your edited data to the backend. Or you can click reload and that will cancel whatever editing you were doing. So you have the ability to do that here. Another part is for the release is the search into the table widgets. What we did is you can search for specific depths or you can search for specific values or interval of values. Example here, I'm searching the data between 107 and 113, and it highlights into the widget, the column. Let's have a look at correlation. So in correlation, we did support for proportional. So distance between wells can be proportionally displayed in the correlation view now. Quick example here, I'm going to proportional. You can see the distance between the wells being different. And also we give the distance between the wellheads into the header of the correlation. Yeah. So go from equal to proportional. Other functionalities that we release first. So we also have now a unique system management in IVAAP. It means that you can look at your data in matrix or in imperial systems or mix or other unique system that you want to define. So you can do that with the admin client. For dashboard, we can now export as PNG the whole dashboard, or specific any widgets into that dashboard. We can also export all the data used in the dashboard directly into LAS or CSV. So it's LAS 2. So it will create multiple LAS files for each of the data set in used into the dashboard at the time you select it. For formula, we added support for multi data set as input. So I made a screen capture on the right side here just to show that you can take a curve from different logs as input and get a process formula calculating. So in 3D, we added support for reservoir compressions. That's part of it as well. And on seismic, a few functionalities that was added was support for different scaling between inline, crossline, and slice. A quick view of the administration. There were several things in administration, but important part which was released is first is a support for temporary users. So we can now we can in IVAAP you can select a specific date interval for user to be active to be able to access IVAAP. So you can manage that from the view. Also, we have unit systems, so you can define multiple unit systems through the client through the admin actually. And another part was a bulk import for raster files, so you can load. In IVAAP, you can load multiple photos and field sections, for example, in one go. So that's for the new features for the IVAAP. So now the visual feature for IVAAP. So now here we're releasing in IVAAP 2.11 the external workflow process. So we believe that's a very important milestone for IVAAP. So what we want to do here is that we want to be able to provide tools for example, for data scientists to use whatever they have been developing in Python, for example, to integrate it inside IVAAP. So they can trigger the process through the IVAAP interface and visualize the result inside the IVAAP interface as well. So that's an important step here that is coming. And as well, that's for the data scientists, but we also have the domain people, the geology, geophysicists, engineers. We want to make sure that whatever is developed by the data scientists could be made available to a large community within the same company. So the geology, geophysics could basically use whatever was developed as well through the IVAAP. So using IVAAP as a good point is that you will get a consistent UI, and the user experience will be very similar across all the processes that will be running through IVAAP. So why we did that is first we had several requests from customers in order to be able to use company algorithm, company processes, or a toolbox to make them available, so they can run a process and visualize it in a nice way, like using the WellLogs, using the 2D seismic, 3D view, etc. Today, a lot of companies are using Excel still today to visualize some of the output of a process. So what we offer with IVAAP is that we break the silos between services, teams inside a company by making it available, try to make all this process available in IVAAP. So one thing we did not want to do was to make some kind of hard-coded solution. So we wanted to make it very flexible first. So we want all these external process will run as services. They will be registered in IVAAP, and in IVAAP, as soon as it's registered, it will be listed inside the IVAAP client. So the list here that you see at the middle here, the dialog at the middle is this list is updated on the fly. A new service is added. It will be made available in that dialog. And then another part is that for each process we have input and output parameters. So again, we did not want to have a hard-coded interface here. So we're using JSON forms, and all the dialogues to select parameters are created on the fly. There is no hard-coded solution here. So how does it work? So what this is following the component diagram here. You see first IVAAP here. We have the backend here, which provide a set of APIs to communicate with the data, to save templates, to load templates, etc. And then we have the client interface here, so which basically leverage all these APIs. You can list the service and access the service on the client side. You see on the back end, you can access the data, OSDU, Petrel, so we did put a few as examples here. The important part is the external services, which are listed on the right side here. So in order to work, we have integration points. So you can, from this, the external environment, the external processor, you can have and one endpoint to want to make available on the clients the diagrams, the dialogues, and we want to be able to trigger a process from the other clients. So all of that goes to two endpoints here. So let's have a look at these endpoints. So first is a get schema. So with the get schema, basically we have a JSON form here listed on the bottom left. We have a set of we have a library, IVAAP JSON form library. This is made available to the geoscientists who will be working on this with the services here, and so we can generate on the fly the dialog which is visible at the middle from the JSON schema. This dialog here, we have several controls which are made available as well. For example, the control to select wells, logs, all of that has been already developed. It's part of the IVAAP JSON form library. So we have different ways to select wells. For example, you can select specific wells or a group of wells. You can select logs, specific logs, or you can use the tags. And you can select your log curves. As well, for the output, we have different ways of defining. For example, you can use your tops as well for selecting intervals for the process. You can so it's several types of parameters that you can manage here. Several controls are available, and then you have the execute button. So the execute will basically what we do with the execute is that we will package everything and in a payload and ship it using a post request. So then all of that will be running as external process. And so the service behind that, we have a service which the user will register to the IVAAP admin. So this will make the process available for the IVAAP client. So an example here is that we want to just show you a quick example. In that video, we just show a process of it's a low pass filter. So it's just applying a filtering on a curve. For this dialog here, again, the service was made available and is listed. The whole dialog here is generated on the fly. We have a parameter for the cutoff frequency, and then a control here for selecting wells, groups, selecting logs. See here, I'm selecting the wells manually, but I could also be using groups of wells. I can use a tag. So rather than selecting a specific log, I'm using a tag. That's easier. And then I'm selecting the curve. For the output, we provide also different controls. For example, here we can let the user defining a prefix for the log name and a prefix for the output curve created. The process will create a new log. You may have tags visibles, and the process is running. You see it just created a log here. And so what I'm displaying here is the gamma ray. So in green, you will have the original gamma ray, and in red, you will have the generated gamma ray from the process. So the process did apply it on 3 ways. You see there was some notifications. So also all across the life of a process, we have notifications. So the developer can add specific notifications if you want the user to be aware of what's going on during the process. And we also have default notification to say that the process started on a specific well and the process ended well, etc. So that's for the external workflow integration. So just a reminder why we did it is to offer a capability for data scientists to integrate their own process into the IVAAP framework and basically be able to run them. So we can say that we see that we want to make it like a unified digital workspace, and we like to use that word now. So the geologists, geophysicists, all the people into a company can basically access predefined list of services for them. And so all of that will go through a consistent UI interface. And the last point I want to say about it is that that's just the beginning. So we are offering a few examples of processes inside IVAAP, but we want to let the customer develop their own process and take the ownership of what we offer with the external workflow integration. So for 2.11, so just a reminder of what we deliver. This is for the last slide of the presentation here is we added so for the numbers that for OSDU we added support for collections. We added multiple capability for data interactions that you have seen, like editing, dynamic intervals, OSDU, and also for external workflow integrations. We added this capability for users to integrate their own process into IVAAP and run them through the IVAAP interface. With that, this ends my presentation. And I'd like to thank you for listening. If you have any questions, Thelma, back to you.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for that, Hugues. We do have quite a few questions already. So the first one says, great version. Regarding editing functions, edited data is saved back to data collections or to databases?
So IVAAP, we have two versions. The IVAAP Vanilla, which communicate to our own database, which is a MongoDB database, and also communicate to any database. So the first version that we developed was saving the data back to our Mongo database or also to an external PPDM database. And now we will be demonstrating it for saving it back to WellDGMS in OSDU. So that's also, we hope to be able to demonstrate that at SPE coming in October.
Awesome. Next question, could you please provide more details regarding the features available within the context of mobile responsiveness?
So IVAAP is mobile responsive, but we know that when you build a dashboard, a very complex dashboards on your laptop, that doesn't fit very well in mobile usually. So you need to have like predefined, better to have a specific dashboards for mobile. So I don't have a demonstration here, but basically we see that simpler it is for mobile, better it is. So you build, for example, you build first a very simple dashboard on your desktop, and then you will be able to really deal with it easily into the on your mobile.
Okay. Right. Next question. IVAAP can connect to both OSDU and a WIDSML store. Is it a real-time environment, i.e., can you have a view displaying wellbores with the wellbore trajectory or log data from WIDSML being updated live in the display?
Yes, we support. So right now IVAAP support real-time data. So we use WIDSML 141. And it's real time. Yes, we already have company using it as real time. We have use case described on the INT website of this. What we're working on right now is a 141 on top of ETP. So we're working on it. And the other part that we're looking at is also WIDSML 2.0 on top of ETP. So that's coming in hopefully before the end of the year.
Okay. Let's see. I have a couple on the Petrel Studio connector. What data types do we support? Seismic wells, faults?
Yes, typical seismic faults, grid, well data. Yes, we're still working on it. We provide more capability as well on this one.
Let's see the other one. I understand that INT has been working with machine learning algorithms for certain well properties predictions. What about multi-attribute analysis with AI ML and algorithms for rock properties predictions?
We leave that to the customers. So in IVAAP, we have, we provide basic demonstrations right now. We'll show again at the SP, we'll show example of machine learning for log predictions. But doing more of that, we really want to have a customer starting to use it, and they are the one having the ownership of what to do with the data, what process to apply, how to apply it, and for which reason to apply this process. That's what our customer will be doing. So we provide the tools to let the customer doing it. But we also have a lot more on the backlog for machine learning. So what we want to offer is more capability around interactivity, how to interact with a process, make it more. Right now, it's a bit dynamic. It's a bit static. Means you open a dialog, you execute a process, and you wait for the results. So we'll be offering more capability in near futures, maybe around being more to interact more with a process. For example, you draw a gradient into a plot and you right away trigger a process. You can visualize the result on the fly. We want to make it more integrated with the visualization. So that's coming. But when it comes to really the domain definition, what people want to do, we want to leave it to the customer and work with them as well, because their needs will make the process evolve as well. I'm sure we'll have a lot to improve from the feedback with the customer.
Awesome. Okay, so forgive me if I get any of these wrong, but this one question says, INT is adding to the list of OSDU data types supported in IVAAP, able to be displayed in the 3D view. For example, whole section for 2.11. Is tubular assembly, isolated interval, wellbore opening, formation integrity test, fit, LOT in the pipeline?
Yes, yeah, they are. So right now we have all sections supported, and we continue to integrate more capability. So yes, it's in the pipeline. We try to really try to follow OSDU closely, and we also we are pushed by customers as well anyway, to make sure that we support that. So yes, it's good.
Awesome. Some great questions, guys. So keep them coming. So I have another one. Can formulas be applied to the new curve editing functionality? Conditioning data cleaning, for instance.
Yes. So for example, you did the curve and you save it to you save it. There is no problem. The formula can run on top of it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. How many grid cells do you support now with the new reservoir compression feature?
Oh yes, I don't have the number in mind, but yes, we tested with quite large reservoir size. So IVAAP is pretty. We optimize pretty well the visualization. So I don't have the number in mind right now, but we have been testing it in big reservoir size. Fortunately, I don't have the number right now. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Got a few more minutes if anybody has any final questions. Hopefully I've answered fully all the other questions. And of course, after the session, if you have any questions beyond this, you can always email us at intinfo@INT, you can see on the screen, or marketing@INT. I did want to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. Super happy to have you guys here. We have, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us or to your account manager. If you're not a current IVAAP user, but you'd like to be, we'd be happy to give you a custom free demo that's specific to your use case, tailored the capabilities specific to your environment or use case or whatever. Just reach out and we'll set you up with one of those. If you happen to be attending Image Conference next week here in Houston, we're going to be there. So we'd love to see you at our booth 315. So stop by and say hi. Come to our happy hour on Tuesday, or actually check out our presentations throughout the show. I know we have a couple on IVAAP 2.11, some on machine learning, and we have a co-presentation on Wednesday with one of our clients, ExxonMobil. So We'd love to see you guys stop by. Yeah. All right. If there's no more questions, I'll end it. I will be sending out a link to the recording in the next few days. I wanted to thank Ugo, our presenter, for such a very thorough and great presentation. So I'm very, very excited to bring these new features to you guys. So yeah, so that's all for now. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.